Okay, we are live. Good. Development takes time. That is the subject of today's video. As always, please like or comment on this video below. Click the subscribe bell. That helps other people to see these videos. So development takes time, and it is different for everybody. Everybody's progress is unique. Everybody's development is unique. Just the way we all do mediumship is unique. So I said before, I'll say it again, do not compare yourself to other people. You don't know what their natural ability is compared to yours, and you don't know what resources they've had to throw at this. If you can only do one practice a month and they can do 5 of them a week or whatever, they're going to progress better probably than you. So never compare yourself to other people. Like learning a musical instrument, mediumship is not something that can be rushed. You just have to go at whatever your pace is. So I think one of the most important things you can do is steady, consistent practice. And if that's once every 2 weeks, whatever it is, as long as you consistently do that, you're off to a great start. Always use practice circles or offline friends and family to practice on, never ever the general public. Just because you have some ability for mediumship does not mean you should be charging people for readings and learning on them as you go. That is a terrible idea. So when I first discovered this world of mediumship, I obviously had a natural ability for it. I also had a full-time job, so I did a lot of international circles. My first year, I'd get up at 4 and 5 in the morning and do circles in England, sometimes on the east coast of the US. I'm on the west coast, and that's how I got my practice in. They may not be the circles you want to do, but there are circles available all over the world, so they should fit whatever schedule you're confined to. So when you're first doing this, you're learning about yourself and you're learning about how you get information. So in my strong belief, that because of my repeated experience, everybody gets better after they pass. Everybody becomes a better version of themselves after they pass. That was hard for me at first. I struggled with that. I talk about it in other videos. So it was confusing, and now I understand. When I connect with someone and they make me feel this intense longing, yearning, missing, pining for somebody, that's not them. That's not how they feel. They never feel that way about us because they can be with us instantly. That's always, now I know when they make me feel that way, somebody here feels that way about them. And so I know to talk about that. But it's that kind of thing where you over time and over many readings, when people say yes and no to things, that's how you learn what you're getting and how you're getting it. Mistakes are how you learn. No's and yeses are how I learned. They're both equally valuable. Yeses feel better when someone says yes, 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 that's right. That feels better, but no's are absolutely as valuable. And once, at least for me, and it's probably going to be true for you, once you do get something pretty clearly, it's consistent. So I've said before, when I get references to my dad, it means I'm with your dad, the client's dad. If I get references to my mom's mom, I'm with your mom's mom, usually. But when that first started to happen, I'd see a picture of my dad in my head, usually in the Army. We have a lot of pictures of him young, and in his Army uniform. And I would talk about the Army, I would talk about his first name, I would talk about whatever I could think of, and it was just dad, like your dad, their dad. There was that connection. But it took me a while to learn that. And I absolutely have to say, I still do this today. I ask questions. I will say things in the form of question. Like, is it correct that this person fell off a roof or whatever? And when someone immediately says, yes, that happened, that's not fishing. Some people are very much against, you have to phrase things in the statement. And I think, because otherwise, you're fishing. And I think, not really. I think if you say, was your dad's name John? No. Was it Robert? No. Was it Jason? No. Was it Michael? No. That's fishing. But when you're pretty sure about something and you say, is it true that, and you're phrasing it in a question, that's okay. And certainly in the beginning, ask all the questions that you want for your own learning experience. I've said it in other videos. I say it here. Whatever time you're allotted in a practice circle, say it's 7 minutes. 7 to 10 minutes is pretty typical. That's your time. And if you sit there quietly for 6 of those 7 minutes, that's your time. So think about that. Don't feel the pressure to say something or, I have to get something, I have to connect. Just do that. Also, the other thing, so that's your time. That's consistent practice. Think of it as your 7 minutes or whatever the time that is. And also, it really helped me. Everything changed for me. Everything became easier for me when I really got it through my head that somebody is always there and ready and willing to communicate. Always. They are always there. Charlie Kelly, the British medium, really drilled that into my head. Somebody is always there. So now instead of going into a reading thinking, I hope I get somebody, what I think is I hope I understand what they're giving me. And I think that's a better approach. I hope I understand rather than will somebody be there. Somebody's always going to be there, always. So, and if you feel like they're not, it's you. Somebody is definitely there, usually more than one person. In my early development, I did get things, a lot of symbols, and I don't so much anymore. And now I would say I get things symbolically, like seeing my dad in my head means I'm connected with my client's dad. That's symbolic, right? That's not their dad that I'm seeing, it's my own. But I also got actual symbols. Like I used to see, this hasn't happened in a long time, a heart-shaped box of candy. I knew that was always some kind of anniversary. One time I saw a tiny little shrunken, bad feeling heart-shaped box of candy, and I knew that was a no longer celebrated anniversary. And it was actually the woman I was reading for her first marriage. It was her anniversary the day before of that ended first marriage. So symbols are great. Now this may work for you, it's never worked for me, but so what's never worked for me is insisting on something or trying to make deals with people in spirit, like show me white roses to mean this, or show me candy to mean that. That's never worked for me, but it might work for you. So I encourage you to experiment, especially in the beginning. Just play with it and experiment. Have a playful attitude about it. For me, I just noticed things over many, many readings, and that's how I learned. So like that, father's side of the family on the right, mother's side on the left thing, I noticed over several readings. When I would connect with someone in spirit and they'd start talking about someone or showing me things about a person, it's typically someone who they're with or someone else who has passed that they're referenced. But when I get this sort of splat hitting the ground feeling inside me, I eventually realized that was always somebody who was still here. They were talking about someone who was still here alive. So again, it just took many, many readings of getting yeses and nos from sitters to learn that about what I was feeling, what it meant, what those things meant. Mediumship is super subtle. Super subtle. So if you're not being clubbed over the head in the beginning, that is normal. What you see in movies and television is not how mediumship goes. I've talked about that in other videos, so it's totally okay. And maybe the most important thing I can say to end with is to do it your way. Do mediumship your way. Don't try to be somebody else. Don't try to do it someone else's way, because we're all unique and we all develop in our own unique way. Next week is kind of a part 2 of this video, kind of. I'm going to talk about how you have to let mediumship happen. Don't try to make it happen, allow it to happen. You have to relax yourself out of the way. So that's next week. Thank you for this time. Like or comment on this video, click the subscribe bell, and that helps more people.